Hello, I hope you are doing well. I am doing great. Thanks for asking. Today we are going to be exploring how you can build and handle form submissions using ambiorix. We are going to be building a very simple application. On the homepage, we'll just have this hello world. We are building a contact page form, visit slash contact to see it. So when you click on this slash contact URL, then you'll get the contact form, and it's pretty simple, just a couple of inputs. So you can have your full name, then your email, then you pick your type of inquiry. And the thing is, all the inputs are required. So if you try submitting without the message, you get this little warning here. So let's have a message. This is my message. And when you submit, the server responds with thank you, your request has been received. Our team will get back to you within 48 hours and asks you, do you want to submit another request? Of course you can if you click on that, but that's the gist of what we are going to be working on today. Also, just to mention, we already have this example in the ambiorix web GitHub page. So if you just visit github.com/ambiorixweb/more examples, then you'll see that it's the first example there. I am just doing it in video format because I want to. Yes, so let's get to it. I'm going to hop onto Neovim, and then I am going to cd into my YouTube folder, and in this let's create another directory called contact form and cd into that contact form directory. And now I am just going to create a tmarks session. So tmarks new session, and I'll just call it contact form. And inside of here, let's go with ui.r for now. Should I go with that? Let's go with index.r. Yeah, so nvm index.r. Of course, we are going to start with a hello world program as usual. So print hello world, and then let's try and run that. Yeah, so it's working. Now let's start building the program. I'm going to load the required packages. So of course I need ambiorix. So from ambiorix I need ambiorix, the class, and then what else? Of course I need HTML tools. So HTML tools, and I want tags. I want tag list, at least for now. And then yeah, let's create an app instance. So this is going to be app ambiorix, and just going to say subset new. Actually this is supposed to be just a class, so ambiorix subset new, and we can set the port. Let's set the port to 8000. Then of course app subset get at slash. We want that to be handled by a handler called get. And then at the end of the day, we will want to start the application. So we are going to do subset start. Yeah, now let's create home get. So home get, it's going to be a function of request and response. This is the handler, so a function of request and response. And all I want right now is let's create some HTML. So tags subset h3 hello world, and then I want to do res send, just send that HTML back. Yep, that's home get. Then we are going to have some function docs for it, so something along the lines of handle get add slash. We'd like it to be exported since we are using box, and that's it. Now this is the equivalent of a hello world program in ambiorix. Yep, let's try running it. So r script index.r, there's no package called box. That's because I don't have it installed. So I'm just going to do install.packages box. Okay, let's try running that again, and there we go. So the application is running on 8000. So if we click on that and visit this, we can see that we have the hello world program. Okay, so when building the UI, or rather when building the front end using ambiorix while using server-side rendering, I almost always prefer for my UI functions to be in a directory called UI, and then the handlers will be in a directory called controllers. So let's go ahead and create those. So I'm going to stop the application, and then let's do make dir. I want UI, then I want controllers. Yes, that's it. So what we want in the UI is actually, let's start with the controllers since we already have that. So I'm just going to do controllers, and in controllers let's just have home.r, and then we are going to copy this handler here, and in the meantime, yeah, let's just do the same. So box use HTML tools, I want tags, tag list. Yeah, that's it for this handler. And since it's exported, when we come here now, we don't need this anymore. What I want is from where I am, go to controllers. I want go to controllers, home, and bring me get. Yeah, that's it. So now this should still be running. Yeah, should still be, it's okay. Now what I want is inside of the UI, let's create the, let's start with a normal page. Like, no, not a normal page. Let's start with the page template. That sounds, no, what do I mean? The page, the general look of the page. Yeah, the general feel of the page, the general layout is the correct word. So what we are going to do is simple. So just UI, then we are going to call it page.r, and then here we want a function called page, and it will take dots, and then it will take the title of the page. In this case, the title, let's just have it as forms. Yeah, forms make sense. And for the, this is general layout of general layout of a page, right? And the parameter dot these are going to be HTML tools tags, and this is optional. Then parameter title, this is going to be a string, this is optional too. And for the title, let's just say this is the browser title of the page, and this function is going to return HTML tools tags, and it's also going to be exported, right? Okay, that's it. And I almost always use bootstrap, so I am going to get bootstrap. So go to getbootstrap.com, and what I want here is go to the documentation. Yes, this is exactly what we want. So we are just going to copy this, come here, and we are going to paste it here. Now let's convert this to R code. So this is more of we want HTML. So like we want the HTML tag from HTML tools. So this is going to be box use HTML tools, and I want a couple of things. So I want tags, tag list, and I also want HTML. So now we come here and see this is just HTML, doc type HTML. Close that. And then after that, we are going to have tags subset HTML. Let's set the language to English, and then after that we'll have tags subset head, and then we'll have tags subset meta, in which you have char set. So the character setting, this is UTF-8. And then after that we have another tags subset meta. Then the name is report, and the content we are going to have width, which is device width, and initial scale is 1. That's it about that. Then finally we have the title. So tags subset title. For the title, we are just going to pass the title that we got from the function. So we are just going to have title, and that's it about the head. Then finally we have tags subset body. So this is going to be tags subset h1. Yeah, let's just have hello world 2, and that's about it. So now we can get rid of this. And then since we can't just return like two consecutive or rather two bare items from the function, we have to wrap them in a tag list. So this is going to be a tag list, and paste all that there. I think I have an error somewhere because this should be formatted. Let's see. So we are saying we have where is that error, because I know it's there. That's interesting. So and then we're just passing the title. So why is this not being formatted? Tag list. That's it. I am so confused right now. Why isn't this being formatted? What am I missing here? This is the simplest thing, the simplest program you can write, and I'm getting stuck. What the hell? Okay, what am I missing? This looks fine to me, but then it's not being formatted. So there's definitely an issue. Yeah, I missed the comma after that. Wow, it's always the comma, huh? Okay, so it's now formatted. So this is the page function. Just takes in anything that you give to it, and so it takes the dot dot dot, the ellipses, and then of course the page title, and returns. Oh, actually we are not passing the dots, so let's just have the dots there, the ellipses inside of the body, but by default we'll just have the hello world. Actually no, we don't need the hello world. We'll just pass in the ellipses there. Yeah, this looks good. So now this page function is complete. Now again, inside of that UI directory, we need to create another file, and we're just going to call it home.r. Now again, here we import whatever we need, the required functions. So from HTML tools, I obviously need tags and tag list. And then here we are going to have a function called UI. So this is just a function, doesn't take any arguments, and this is going to be the UI, homepage UI, and it's also exported. And now from the homepage UI, we currently only need to return hello world. Yep, that's it. And now this function will be called from controllers. So now we go to controllers. Actually, I can exit this since you're not using it. So we are going to controllers and home.r. And now here we are not going to import from HTML tools. Instead, we are going to import from that home file in UI. So we are going to do UI home, and I want the UI function. And then here we don't need all this. What we need is, I want you to send back the UI, and this should still be working. So we do that, and yeah, it is. So now the thing is, actually I've realized the UI page function is not yet complete. I still need Bootstrap. So I am going to create a directory, and I'll just call it public. In that public, make dir public Bootstrap. So now inside of public / bootstrap, that's where we are going to put our Bootstrap dependencies. So we come back here, and I am going to grab this CDN. Okay, you know what? Just go to the download section, and then I want this link for the CSS. And let's save it now. So we are going to save it, and we go to home, YouTube, contact form, public Bootstrap. Yes. And then we do the same for the JS file. So this is the Bootstrap JS. So we come here, copy, then search it, then we save it inside of Bootstrap 2. And then this is Bootstrap 5.3.8. So I am going to rename this Bootstrap directory to, so rename it to Bootstrap 5.3.8, just for version checking. Yes, so now that's it. And yeah, I don't need anything else there. The only thing now is including the Bootstrap dependencies in the page function. So we again come here to introduction, and so after the title, now we have the link to the CSS file. So after the title, we have tags, subset link. The relationship is that this is a style sheet, and we're going to set the src, right? No, the href. Wow, actually, do I need to set the rel? Well, I think so. Let's just Google that. Link tag HTML. Yeah, I do. So href is going to be, for me, I want to expose the public contents under slash static. So I'll do slash static, then slash bootstrap 5.3.8, and then we are going to do slash bootstrap.min.css. So that's the CSS file, and then we go to, so the script is at the end of the body. So we come after the dots, after the ellipses, we have tags, subset script, then we set the src in this case, again slash static bootstrap 5.3.8 slash bootstrap bundle.min.js. Okay, so now if we run the application, the page should be kind of styled, not exactly styled, but kind of. So it will not look like this. It will be, it should look a bit better, right? So we'll just try to rerun it. So r script index.r, and now we come here and we are going to reload it, and yeah, there we go. Wait, is no, I wow, I didn't I didn't include the static folder, so it's not being found. So we are going to go to index.r, and here I'm going to set up subset static. So we have the path and the URI, so I'm guessing so. I'm going to ambiorix.dev. Let me check the docs. I want the static files. Yeah, so we have so this, oh, we have the path and the URI. Okay, so the path is the path to the directory containing the static files. Okay, so we go back there, and then the path will be what? Will be public. Then the URI will be static. Yeah, that's about it. So now if we stop and restart the application, coming back here, okay, this isn't changing, and the error is how do I know? Yeah, just try and put a bootstrap class. So I think it's already picked up, but let's try. Yeah, it hasn't picked up. So maybe, wow, how come I didn't get that right? And the path is static. So if I go to UI page and I'm saying slash static and then bootstrap, this is interesting. I haven't used the page function anywhere. Wow. Yeah, a buddy in office, I guess. So so I should go to EUI, and then I am looking for the home. So instead of this, what I should have done is wrapped this return value inside of page like that. So we have the content, then now we wrap the content inside the general page structure like that. So that means we need we need to import page. So where we are, I want you to go inside of page and get me page. Okay, now it should work. There we go. So yep, that's it. So we have the hello world correctly set up. So I'm just going to initialize this using git. So git init, and we are going to add all the files and git commit -m. This is a chore. We are going to say this is the I'm just going to say hello world. Yep, so that's it. Now that we have this home page, we need to get it to the same state. It needs to look like this, right? So this is basically just a card, and then you have a title and all this. So we go back to Bootstrap and we want the card. So I'm just going to search for card, and yeah, here we are. So a card has this card class, then we have the card body, and inside of the card body we have the card title, and then of course, I don't know, card text, etc. So this is basically what you want. We come back here, we go to the UI, we want home. So now the content changes. We want this to be tags subset div, and the class of this div is going to be, want this to be a card, then tag subset div. Inside of the card we have card body, and then inside of the card body we have several things. The first one is the card title. So the card title is actually a h5. Let's go with h3. Card title, in our case, hello world. And then after that we have the card text. So tags subset p. This is going to be card text, and in our case the text we want is, we are building a contact page form. We are building a contact page form, and the rest is the visit/contact to see it. So visit, and then now we are going to have an anchor tag. The href will be /contact, and the text will be /contact. So visit that to see it. Yeah, yep, so that's about it. So now let's reload this, and okay, so at least we are seeing some progress. So we have the card, and yeah, it's showing. Now what we want, we need it to be centered. So we'll go back to UI page, and actually no, let's just stick to UI home. And what we are going to do is wrap all this inside of a div of class container, and the container, yeah, inside of container, that should center it. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's not exactly centered, but yeah, it's on, well, it's on the center of the page. So the next thing I need to do is add some margin to this card, right? So I'll come here and then margin across the y-axis. Let's just have it as 5, right? Okay, I think that's beginning to look like that's starting to look like what we want. So we have the margin across the y-axis as 5, and then now the next thing is for this card, let's remove the borders and instead have a shadow. So let's first of all try it on the front end. So I'm going to select the card itself, and then for the class, let's just have border 0 and then shadow, that's shadow LG. Let's have shadow SM, too small. Shadow LG looks like it's too much. Shadow SM, it's too little. Maybe I don't have to remove the border. Okay. No. Border 0, shadow LG. Does this have no? Actually, I'm just going, yeah, I'll go with 0 border and shadow LG. So I'll go with border 0 and shadow LG, like the large shadow, and let's rerun it again. Okay, this doesn't look bad. It's a close replica of what we have here. Only that actually why not just check what I had initially. So I'm just going to do inspect. Yeah. So I had border 0 and then I only had shadow. Interesting. Okay. So how come I can't find shadow here? So nice. Yeah. We can just have shadow instead of shadow LG. Okay. Shadow would work. Okay. So I guess that's it. All right. So this is done. Now, when you try clicking on the /contact link, it's of course not found because we haven't built that page yet. So let's go to UI and let's go to UI. Let's just have contact.r. Then inside of contact.r, I am going to, of course, import all the required functions. So from HTML tools, I almost always need those two. And then I am going to need page. Yeah, that's it for now. This is going to be UI. This is a function, it doesn't take anything. And contact page UI. Let's export it. Content is going to be tags subset div. So we are going to start with the container. So class container. And then we're going to have the card, and then tags subset div. Inside of a card, we have the card body, which has tags subset div. Actually, this is a h3. This is the contact form. Actually, let's just say contact us. Yeah. And then for the card, we've said margin across the y-axis, we want it to be 5, and then I want you to go with shadow and then remove the borders, right? So border 0, shadow, and that's it. So this should give us for the contact page. We need to make it, we now need to use the UI function. So what we are going to do is controllers, and I'm just going to have contact.r. So inside of controllers, let's have contact.r, and here we need contact get. So this is a function of request and response, and what happens is res subset send the UI, and handle, this is get at slash contact. This is exported, and then for the UI function box use, we are getting it from UI slash contact subset UI. Yeah, that's it. So now we have the contact get. Now we need to go to index.r, and we are going to use it. So up subset get slash contact will be handled by contact get, and yeah, that's about it. So if now we restart the application again, it's saying object contact get not found. Yeah, that's because I haven't imported it actually. So controllers slash contact subset contact get, restart the application again, and now if we reload this page, now we have contact us. Now the funny thing is this isn't centered. Didn't I use the page? So AUI, let's go to contact. Oh, I didn't wrap the content in page. Wow, I keep forgetting. Okay, so we reload, and there we have the card. Okay, so in this card we need 3 inputs. We need the name, well, the full name, the email, or actually it's 4. The full name, the email, the type of inquiry, and the message. Now for the full name and the email, this is more of text inputs, only that the difference is one is of type text and the other is of type email. So we are going to create a function called text input for that. Now text input is more of a component, so let's have a file inside of UI called components.r. We'll of course need HTML tools, tags, tag list. So here we have text input, and then for the text input it will have a parameter called id, which is a string, and this is required. So the id will be id of the input, and then it will have another parameter called label. The label will be HTML tools tags. So you can just have it of like that. The label is let's have it as required to. Label of the input, and then what else do you need? I think that's enough. So the function is called text input. This is a function which takes the ID, the label. Now we are just going to go back to Bootstrap. We go to forms, form control. So this is for an email address. So this is how an input is. Let me scroll down a bit. This is for password. Okay. I thought I would have, because my guess is just the difference is the type. One is of type text. Forms overview. Email. Okay. So again, you have email and password there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go to MDN. Input types. Okay, so type, yeah, it's of type text. I will write on that. So we want this to be the same as this. Actually, let's just have the type. The type by default wants this to be of type text, but it can as well be of type email. And then the first thing we do is, of course, confirm. So match.arg. Yeah, we confirm that. And then we start building the input. So as per Bootstrap, we need to wrap this in some form of, in a div. Yeah, so we are going to do tags subset div. And then what? So tags subset div, and then we have the label come first, and then the input. Okay, so tags subset the label. So the label will be for ID. Then what other class? It has a class form label. Okay, form label, and then we drop in the label inside. After the label, we have the input. The input has class form control, and then it has the type. So class form control, and then the type will be the type. Okay, the type that we passed in here. And then in our case, okay, we can as well have the placeholder. Yeah, okay, but before the placeholder we have the ID. Okay, so I prefer having the ID a bit. Let's have it here. So the ID will be ID, and then we have the name, which will as well be the ID. So I mostly use the ID for DOM manipulations, but of course when submitting the form, it is the name of the input that matters. So I just set the ID to be the same as the name. Okay, so we have the type, the class, the ID, then the placeholder. For now I don't need that. Yeah, so that's the text input. Am I missing anything here? I'm passing the ID, I'm passing the label, and I'm passing the type. I think that's it. So we go to UI contact form, and what I need here from components, I want you to get me the text. I want you to get me the text input. Now after, oh, this was supposed to be of class. card title, and then after that, after the card title, I am going to have the form. So the form, actually before I talk about the form, let's just drop in the text input. So we have a text input ID. We are going to start let's just have it as the full name. So we have the ID, label, and type. So ID, the label will be the full name, the type will be the default one, and then we have another text input whose ID will be email, the label will be email address, and the type will be email. So now if we reload the contact page, I expect to see those. Okay, and here they are. Okay, we are getting somewhere. Now we need another input for the type of inquiry, and this is just a radio button input, right? So we come to Bootstrap again, and we're just going to search for radio. Okay, so radios, this is how they are supposed to be. So let's see. So for radios, so we have for the different, so what's the same? The name. Okay, so for each of them you just give them the same name and they'll be submitted together. Okay, let's start with one. So we're just going to start with one. So let's go to UI and components. So UI components, and we want a radio button input. So radio button input, this is going to be a function. Okay, radio button input, I want it to be exported, and then we are saying this function, of course we need an ID for the function. We need the choices, because in this case we have multiple choices, and yeah, that's it for now, at least. So the first thing is we need to check, because the choices, they can either be named or unnamed. What I mean by that is, you see in this form, when you submit general inquiry, the value that is sent back to the backend might be different from the displayed value. So the first thing what we get here is the values will be the same. Let me think, because we are talking about the names. So by default, the values will be the same as the choices. If not is null, the names of the choices so if the names of the choices aren't null, if the names of the choices aren't null, then I just want to set, no, the values will remain, but then am I going to change the choices? Yeah, let me just change the choices to be could have just done You know what? This is a bad approach. What I need is I have the values and the names, right? By default, the names are null, right? And then so I still have to check for this. Wow. So if okay, if not is null names. Actually, now I know. Okay, so I should have just done names will be the names of choices, right? And then here we just say if is null, if is null, then what I want to do here is NMS will be the same as the choice. Okay, am I thinking about this correctly? Let's see. When passing in the choices, I want I see. So I actually want, because in my thinking, the choices will be something along the line of a list, and I want you to do A is equals to this is A, and B is equals to this is B. So actually, what I want is for the names will be the values. So here, the values, yeah, like that. And then whatever is inside of the list, now those are the labels, right? Okay, let's add that to the docs. So this is going to be param id. This is a string. It's required. id of the input, and then we have another parameter called choices. This is going to be a named list, which is also required. So choices, if named, must be of the format value equals to values value equals to what? Value equals to, name is a bit general. Value equals to display name. Yeah. And then wants this to return HTML tools tag. So return HTML tools tags. Okay, now let's start dealing with the radio button input intricacies. What do we have here? So form check. Okay, so each of the radio buttons must be enclosed inside of form check. So that means we have to loop over the given choices, right? So we are going to say L apply and the x is going to be sequence choices, and the function will be a function of the index, and so this is going to be a function of the index, and then the value will be values subset index, and then we have this is more of the label, so the label will be the label will be the choices subset index. Okay, let me think. Value, I think this is okay. So the value will be the value subset index, and then the label will be the choices subset index. And then what do we have to do? So we return a div of class form check, a div of class form check, and then we have an input form check input. This is an input. Check input. The type is radio, and then it has a name, and then it has an ID. So you can see that the ID is always different, but the name is the same. So name will be the same as the ID, but for the what am I going to call this? I'm just going to say, in fact, I don't have to do all that. I just have to come here and say the ID will be paste 0. We have the ID and the index. Yes. So I'm just pasting the ID in the index, but the name remains to be the original ID. Yeah. Then after this, we have the label from check label. Tags subset label. Check label. From check label, and then of course this one is for the ID, right? Okay. So this one is for the ID. Let's just have choice ID, which will be this. So choice ID. So that's the choice ID for that. Then we drop in the label. Okay. And actually, that's it. Okay. So the radio button input is done. So we go to UI. I want you to go to UI. In the contact page, from components, let's import the radio button input, and we are going to throw it just here. And the ID, we are just going to say this is the inquiry type. Inquiry type. We can actually use dashes. So inquiry type. And for the choices, this is going to be a list. And we have general inquiry or a price inquiry. So this is going to be general inquiry or about price inquiry. And yep, now we should have that on the UI. So we come to our form, reload, and yep, there we go. Now we're only missing one thing, the pre-selected value. So now we come here. I'm sure they have a pre-selected value. Aha, so when it's selected, it has the attribute checked. So we go back to UI components and we scroll down. So when a choice is select, so that means here we need another argument called selected. Yep, at param selected, this is going to be a string, but it's optional, right? And this is going to be the selected value choices, right? So does it have to be a string really? Doesn't have to be a string, but ideally, well, it should be a string. I'm just going to leave it as this. So for the selected one, since it's optional, we're just going to default to null. And then what we'll do here is, so we are saying if it's selected, the input has the checked, it has the checked the checked attribute, right? So we are saying is selected will be identical the value and selected. Yeah, so if it's selected, then of course the value and the selected must be identical, and then we will come to the input and we are saying checked, right? So the attribute checked will be if it's selected, then it will be NA. So when you set an attribute to NA, HTML tools will interpret that as you want that attribute set for that tag. So if it's selected, then I want you to set that attribute to NA. Yes, so that's it. And then we'll go back to UI contact page, and then by default let's set the selected to general. And now let's try reloading this page. So by default it should select general. There you go. Let's try price just to confirm that it's working. Oh, oops. Let's reload. Okay, there we go. But we said we need this to be generals. Okay, so this is working. So now we have the type of the inquiry, and then finally we have a text area. So we come here. Can I search for text area? Okay. So this is just So it's just text area and then it has a label. For me, I don't even need the label to be floating. So you just need, I'm guessing, just a general text area. Yeah, I only need a label, then a text area. Okay. So UI components, and then we need text. This is a text area input. All you need is an ID. So this is a string required, and it is ID of the input, and then after that we have another parameter. We'll call it label, which is HTML tools tags. Yeah, the label, let's just have it as required. Actually, I don't need this too. And then we'll of course need this to be exported, and it's going to be returning HTML tools tags. Okay, so we are going to call this text area input. This is a function of ID and label. And so at first we have the label. So we are going to wrap this in tags subset div. Then we have tags subset label. So the label is for ID, and then we drop in the label, right? Then the class is form label. Okay. Yeah, I don't need the placeholder. Oh yeah. So now we have the text area class form control. So tags text area class form control. What else? I need to set, of course, the ID and then the number of rows. So the ID, then the number of rows. The more the number of rows, the taller your text area input. So I think three are enough for me. Yeah. So that's it for the text area input. Now we go back to UI contact. We import the text area input. Text area input. And then now we use it after the radio button input. I need a text area input whose ID will be message, and what else? ID and the label will be the message, right? Okay, so if I restart the application again, I should be able to see that. Come here. Okay, so now here we have the message. We are almost there. Now we need the button, finally, the submit button. So we are going back to UI components, and we are going to create a button input parameter ID. We don't need an ID for this one, so I'm just going to have label, which is in this case HTML tags. This is required. And for a button, we need the type of the button, right? This is going to be a string, optional. And for the type, it's either button, which is the default, we submit, or a button can as well be reset. This is from MDN docs, so you can read more about buttons there. And then to tags, and to export. So this is going to be a button, and a function of the label of the button, the type, which is either button, submit, or reset. Then we are going to confirm that the type is indeed one of those values. And then after that, I want tags, subset button. So let's see what they have. Forms overview. Okay, so just a button, then we pass in the type and the class. So the type will be the type, then the class will be, by default we have btn, but let's allow the user to pass in extra classes. So the class will be null by default. So we have here at param class, this is going to be character vector, totally optional, and these are classes to apply to the button, right? I think that's it. So you have the type, yeah, then the label. Did you pass the label? Yeah, then the label, and yeah, that's it. So we go back to contact.r, and then after the text area input, what I need is a button whose label is submit, and it is of type submit, since we are going to wrap all this inside of a form, and its class will be button. Let's go with primary, and then I need to make it a block button, right? A block button. So to make it a block button, we need to wrap it in a div whose class is dgrid. So class dgrid, and yeah, that's it. So now if we rerun the application, we have an internal server error, could not find function button. That's because we didn't import it. Okay, there we go. So we have our button. Now let's do some minimal styling. The first thing is that we need some padding on the card body. So we are going to come to the card body, we need some padding around it. So let's just have like p4, and if we check, okay, that looks a bit better. Maybe you could have even made it a p5 this I would have worked as well. Okay, bit too much, but works. And then now we need to style the let's start with the full name and the email address. They need to be side by side. So that means we come and grab the full name and the email, then we wrap them inside of a div. This div is going to have class row, and then it's going to have two divs. So tags subset div, tags subset div, and this is of class called 12 by default, but for screens above MD I need you to be 6, right? So you need to be inside of this other div, class called 12 by default, but above MD I need you to be 6. Okay, so that means that row should have 2 equal columns now. So let's restart. Yeah, there we go. And then now let's focus on the on the radio buttons. We need them to be inline, right? So let's come to radios. I'm just going to search radio. How do I make them inline? Okay, so the default is that they are stacked, but you can make them inline by what do you need to make them inline? I need to pass in the form check inline. Okay, so we go back to UI components, the radio button input. Is it the radio button input? After selected, let's add another input to this function, another argument to this function, and am I going to call it type? Yeah, I'm just going to say type, or maybe position. No, not position. Is it okay? What is it exactly? Horizontal, because it's either horizontal or stacked. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to say type. I don't know the name for this. Oh god, I'm just going to go with type, which is either stacked, which is the default, or inline, right? So param type, this is going to be string, optional, either start, default, or inline. Okay, so we have the type, and now the type, we need to pass it where we need if it's inline, we need to pass it to the form check div as form check inline, as form check inline. Okay, so it's here. What we need is, I can just have a switch statement here, I guess. So I want you to switch the type, and in fact, before doing that, let's just confirm that. Yeah, so I'll just have a switch statement. So I want you to switch the expr type, and if it's inline, I want to add the class form check inline. Otherwise, do not do anything. Yeah, that's it. Then we are going to go back here, and in the radio button input, we are going to say the type is inline. Let's rerun this, then go to our form, and yeah, there we go. So now it is showing inline. Now the next thing is, of course, we need now a general label for this. To make a general label for that, we'll just have a p tag. So this radio button input, we can just wrap it inside of a p tag. Not trap it, like have a p tag come before it. So first of all, let's have it inside of a div. And then in this div, we have tags subset p, and this is just going to be type of inquiry. Type of inquiry. That's about it. So if I now reload this, this is going to be type of inquiry. It's too far, so we need to set the margin. So class will be the margin bottom. Let's set it to 1. Okay, that looks much better. Now for each of these divs, we need them to be a bit far from each other, basically the margin. So for the first one, so for this row, let's set the margin bottom to 3. Then for this other one too, let's set the margin bottom to be 3. And then for the message on 2, we are going to set the margin bottom to be 3. Okay, then that's it. So now if I reload this, okay, they are spaced. The next thing, what's next? Okay, that doesn't even matter, but looks like my contactor's head. No, that's okay. The next thing, so I've already finished with the styling. Now I need to wrap all this inside of a form, right? So I need to wrap all this inside of a form. So we'll start here. Can actually just make this card to be the form, right? So this card, we're going to make it a form, and since it's a, you know what, being lazy, let me just tags subset form. Now for the form, it needs a few things. First of all, we need the method, and here it's going to be post, right? Let's come here and search for HTML form, go to MDN, and so form, we have the method. In our case, we need it to be a post, and then the action is where the form will be submitted. In our case, we need the action to be /contact where we are, and then the class, that's it. Maybe I need to make it, I almost always use multi-part forms, so I'll just search for multi-part. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, here we go. So the encryption type, so by default the form is sent as form URL encoded, but mine, I need it to be multi-part form. So the encryption type, we are setting it to multi-part /form data. So the encryption type, we are setting it to that. Okay, so our form is complete. So now if we run this again, we don't expect anything to change, but our form is complete. Now if we try to submit it, it's saying that that handler is, well, that the post isn't handled because we haven't handled it yet. So what I need us to do is go to controllers, contact, and now we are going to handle the form submission. So handle post at /contact. Of course, this is going to be exported. This is contact post, which is a function of request and response. And then let's just import HTML tools. I want tags and tag list. What I'm going to do here is, first of all, I need to grab the submitted data. So I'm just going to say parse multi-part, then I pass in the request. So from ambiorix, give me parse multi-part, and I'm just going to print that data, and then as a response I'll just say tags subset. So we're going to do tag subset, let's just do h5 for now, and we'll do submitted successfully. Yes, to send the HTML. Yeah, that's what we are going to do now for now. So if we do this, actually I just remembered something. All of these inputs must be required. So the full name, the email address, and the message, they have to be required. So let's go to UI, let's go to components, and then let's make the text input to be required. So to make it required, we set required. The radio button input, we do not need that since we actually have a default value. Then for the text area input, we need this, so we are going to set required to NA. Then if we go back to controllers now, let's first reload. Now we shouldn't be able to submit this. Okay, so assuming I failed that, still can submit. Then this is my message, and let's change to price inquiry, submit. Okay, I didn't attach the handler. I didn't attach this contact post, so go to index.r. Okay, so we import it and then we attach it. So up subset, this is a post slash contact, this is by contact post. Now let's rerun the application. So if we reload this, yes, confirm, and we get this submitted successfully. And now if we look on our R console, we have the full name, we have the email, and then we have the inquiry type. Yeah, so for the inquiry type, this looks a bit odd. It's just saying on when it should be giving me the value. So I'm guessing I'm missing something on that. So what I'll do is your button input, and yeah, let's come here to MDN. What am I missing? So this is a div. We have it of type what? Type radio. It has an ID, then it has a name, and I'm guessing it's the value that I'm missing. Value, yeah, I think it's the value. So we go back to UI components, and for the radio button input, I think I'm missing the value on the input. So because we have the name, let's set the value to be the value, right? Set the value to be the value, and then we try this again. So I'll just go to slash contact something and then submit. Ah, nice. So I was missing the value. Okay. All right. So I think I got that. Then, so now after submission, let's style this page a bit. So basically we just need to return an alert. So we come back to Bootstrap. I want you to get me alerts, and the alert will be returning is a simple alert of this format. So this is all we need: a div with class alert and then the alert type. So on UI components, we finally have an alert, and this alert, so it will have a parameter called class, which will be a character vector. So it's a character vector, and the class is optional. It's basically classes to apply to the alert div, and then it will also have a parameter. You can just have it as dot, which will be HTML tools tags. These two are optional. Content of the alert. Then we of course want it to return HTML tools. Well, it will be returning HTML tools tag, then it's exported. So So alert will be a function of dots, and then the class. So the class is null by default. Yeah. So this is going to be a tags subset div. So the class, let's have alert. Whatever classes you're going to pass, and let's set its role to alert. And yeah, that's it. Just pass the ellipsis right there. Okay, so this means we go back to controllers contact, then instead of importing from HTML tools, let's just remove that. Let me think. You can just say from contact, apart from the UI, I can return, what am I going to call this? I'll just call it submission UI. Yeah, so I'll call it submission UI, and then here I'll call submission UI, then I'll pass in that as the message. Yeah, that sounds good. So now you go to UI, in contact we create submission UI. So submission UI, this is going to be a function, and in this function it's actually just taking dots. Yeah, for now it's just taking dots, or rather, can I just think it's easier to just take a message. No, let's stick to dots for now, and this is just returning an alert. So we come to components, so it's returning an alert, and we're just passing the dots, right? Yeah, but then this is not just an alert, we need to wrap it in page. So this is more of page, the alert. Yes, that sounds good. So you go back to controllers contact, and yeah, that's it. UI contact submission UI. Dots, these HTML tools tags, and they are completely optional, of course. And then passed as contents of the alert. It's still returning HTML tools tags, and then we of course want it to be exported. Then for my alert, I am just going to assume that by the time submission UI is called, it will have been successful. So we are just going to have class alert success, right? Yes, alert success. And I think that's about it. So controllers contact submitted successfully. Actually, I think I should not submission here should just be a function which doesn't take anything. Yeah, should not take anything. And then what happens is the message is always going to be the same. So it's going to be your request was submitted successfully. Yeah, so we're just going to have tags subset p, and then your request was submitted successfully. Then we'll get back to you within 48 hours. Then you just have feel free to, yeah, we'll have an anchor tag whose href is /contact. Feel free to submit another request. This is more of your message. Our team will get back to you within the next 48 hours. Feel free to submit another message. Yep, I think that's it now. So let's have this as content, and then we are passing the content to page. Yeah, that's it. So we rerun the application and cancel. Let's just have that. So we fill in those, set to price inquiry, and this is a message submit, and there we have it. So your message was submitted successfully. Our team will get back to you within 48 hours, blah 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 blah. And if you click on this, should nice. So this actually works. Now the only thing is, for this page we need to wrap it tags subset div class container. We have the alert. Now the alert, let's just set the margin across the y-axis to be 5 or 3. Yeah, that's it. We try this again. Something, price inquiry, submit. Okay, so your message was submitted successfully. Our team will get back to you within 48 hours. Since we have used a p tag, it's why we are seeing this margin here. So for the p tag, we go back and then we set the class, set the margin bottom to be 0. So now if we try this again, yep, now we get this, and we are in fact done. So this is our home page, and I actually feel like for the home page, well, the margins, you can do better with that, but this is fine. Then when you visit the contact page, we get this. So you fill in your name, you select the type of inquiry, then you type in your message here. Then when you submit, you get this response back. Now you can customize any of these parts to your liking. For example, if an error occurs during the submission instead of returning an alert success, you can return an alert danger, you know, and it will show like in a reddish color. So you can customize any part of the process. Mine was just to show how I do my things generally. Yeah, and that's it. So if you need the code, you can obviously find it on our GitHub page. I will link it below. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.